Welcome to AM Minnesota on this day after Thanksgiving. It's not very often I get people to come in studio the day after Thanksgiving, but Audrey and Margeen Smith have agreed to come in for the Faribault Area Hospice Foundation. December the 4th, one of my favorite events in Faribault. One of my favorite events happened yesterday in the community Thanksgiving Day dinner, and then this is on the list too. They may even be tied for first.
Thank you.
Audrey, I just love the Light Up a Life tree lighting ceremony.
I think it's very special, and particularly special to people who have just lost someone.
Yeah.
And know that they've bought a bulb in memory of that person.
And I don't think of that light as a bulb. I think of it as their soul.
As their soul?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I'm watching those lights on the tree, usually waving a little bit in the breeze,
Yes.
I think of all the people that have touched my life and all those lights, because they're always the same white color, right?
Mm-hmm. They're all white now.
They remind me of a soul. That's just myself.
Well, I think that might be true for many people, because I know when the lights go on, it's very special, and it gets all very, very quiet for a little bit while we're all thinking about it and thinking about our loved ones as we look at the tree.
Now, Audrey, you are the coordinator of the event?
Yes, I'm the volunteer coordinator.
Well, that's pretty cool. And Margeen, are you on the board?
No, I'm not on the board. I'm just a volunteer.
Oh, okay. Were you ever on the board?
No.
Oh, you weren't?
We just got going with this foundation.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the foundation started
Yeah.
when Elena took over.
Yes.
Right.
I was on the board way back when our hospice was just District 1.
Yeah. I thought you were on the board at one time.
Yeah.
So why did you get involved?
Wow. I've been involved since hospice started
31 years.
31 years ago. And I just felt it was a wonderful idea that people could be at home with their grandchildren, the animals, whatever. You know, just wonderful.
So you hadn't had somebody that you lost at that time? Or you did? When you joined hospice?
Yeah. And that was way back before we were Medicare approved. So I was a volunteer for many years. When I retired from my regular job, then I was on the staff of hospice. I was an RN. I'm still an RN, but I was an RN then.
You're an RN forever.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're a registered nurse as long as you're alive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, you might not have the paper, but it's in your heart.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What did you do for a living?
Well, I'm a registered nurse also.
You're kidding.
No.
I got two nurses here?
2 nurses, so maybe you'll be safe if something happens.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I should behave myself for sure. Got 2 nurses in studio. Well, I guess that makes sense to me, because nurses have a caring heart, and hospice is all
Yes.
about that, is it not?
It's all about that, and we have several nurses who are volunteers and who have stayed on to be a volunteer with the foundation. We also have other staff who have lost someone and have seen how valuable hospice services was when their loved one was at the end of life, and how they really help them with that process, and because of that they're volunteers.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, Audrey, but there was no Faribault Area Hospice Foundation board prior to Elena taking over, right?
No, it was founded at the end of 2014, prior to Elena buying the hospital,
Yeah.
because we wanted to be sure that the patients in the Faribault area could get extra services, because our Faribault Hospice had been very active in fundraisers throughout the years, especially with Light Up a Light, and so we were able to do extra things.
Sure. We're going to touch more on that when AM Minnesota continues. Including Northland Buildings for quality post-frame construction. Check them out at their website, northlandbuildings.com. AM Minnesota continues. I have a couple of lovely registered nurses in studio today. Audrey is the coordinator. Margeen Smith is a
Volunteer.
volunteer for the Faribault Area Foundation, and they do the Light Up a Life tree lighting, which started, you said, in 2014 you organized this?
Well, the foundation started in 2014, but we've been doing the Light Up a Light since 1986. So this is the 32nd year. And the foundation was formed because we wanted to carry on the extra services that the hospice in Faribault had been providing. Medicare and a lot of insurance companies pay for the basics, but we did extra things like additional massage therapy, music therapy, maybe even aromatherapy. And sometimes people just need gas to be able to have their loved ones be able to come home and see them. I know this year we supplied airfare for someone who hadn't seen their daughter, who was a long ways away, and we made it possible for her to come home and see her mother before she died.
Oh.
So things like that are very important to the family. Groceries, sometimes we've done special mattresses, bed rails, and we've helped people with in-hospice residential care at the end of life too, when they find they can't handle it at home anymore.
Sure. Did you say you were a hospice nurse?
Yes.
Margeen? You must have had some incredible experiences.
Oh,
over the years.
yes. Yeah, it was my favorite kind of nursing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably rely on you a lot more than anybody else.
Yeah, and people say, oh, that must be so depressing, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's really great going into somebody's home, and there's their little dog up on the bed with the patient. Well, they would not have that if they were in a hospital or someplace. And little grandchildren running around. And
So it wasn't depressing for you, it was
no, it
uplifting
was
for you.
not depressing.
Well, that's good. That you know, a lot of that's attitude, isn't it, Audrey?
Well, I think it's attitude, and I think we never used to talk about death. And we didn't talk about the fact that you were dying. In fact, sometimes way back when I was in my basic training, they didn't even tell the patient sometimes, you've got terminal cancer, you're going to die. Now I think people have the opportunity to talk about it, and their family is open and allows them to talk about it, so they can share what they want to happen. Maybe at their funeral, maybe I want this particular tablecloth that I made to go to you. They get to talk about those things that are important to them.
Yeah.
And I think helping families do that makes the transition much better for them.
So it's kind of a blessing.
Right. I
being
think so.
told that, hey, you've got this many, because you can say your goodbyes, right, Margeen?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is.
And in hospice, the patient, they can go out, they can go shopping. Probably some of the patients today are out with Black Friday.
Yeah.
But they can get out. I remember one man, he got to more parades that summer, before he died. His wife would take him out in a wheelchair.
Because he liked parades.
Yeah, he liked parades. He got to Morristown Parade and all over. He saw more than I did.
Right. And one of the blessings of our Light Up a Light program is that we obtain funds so that we can help people and provide these extra things. It's not only how people feel at the time of the tree lighting ceremony if they come, but I think anyone who gives thinks about what it might be doing. It's kind of like paying forward, and they get to know that they honored their parents, their brother, their sister, their loved one, with, as you say, a light that represents the soul. And I think that's a very nice thing to think about at Christmas, because you've included them in your holidays too.
Yeah. You still have the memory book?
We still have the memory book. It's in the front lobby of the hospital. And the night of the tree lighting ceremony, we move it over to the surgical center lobby, where people can see it and where we have the refreshments for after the program.
And if I remember right, Margeen, they have the Audrey books They have the memory books from since you first started.
Yeah.
So I can go back and look at who I
I'm
honored in 1987. when I
I'm
first
not
got it.
positive about that, but
Oh, okay.
okay. But I know at one time they did do that.
But you still have those around somewhere.
We still have those. I don't know that we had them out last year.
Because, well, in the early 90s, may have been 1990, my grandmother passed.
Uh-huh.
I remember that first holiday after she passed, I donated in her memory.
Yes. Holidays are really a special time, and a time that can be very difficult for families who have lost someone.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to some way include them in your thoughts.
And we volunteers make a little ornament, and there's a tree in the lobby at the hospital with ornaments from every year.
Cool.
Since we started. And so I'm sure if you have given some money, you got an ornament this year.
That's one of the very active activities of our volunteers, is making those ornaments. Norma Schultz has always headed up the ornament thing, and all the volunteers have very kind of special tasks that they've been working on for years. We have the group that does the ornaments. Jan Paschke has been very, very active in entering data, and I don't know what I'd do without her, because she enters a lot of the data, and that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In recent years, the numbers have been steady or going down, or?
The numbers were down last year, and I think that's because people saw the hospice house move out, and I think they thought, oh, we don't have a Faribault hospice anymore. And we do still have a line of Faribault hospice that runs out of Otana, but the foundation serves anyone in hospice. It doesn't have to be the Alina hospice. We will provide services for anybody that's in the hospice program, whether it's St. Croix or Alina or wherever it is from. We provide services for them if they live in the Faribault area.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And when you say Faribault area?
Yes, it's the area that our hospice serve, like, for sure. It's Kenyon, it's Morristown, it's Elysian, it's Waterville, it's Medford. I think probably it's about a 20-mile radius around here that we look at. It's the area that was served by our hospice, and if anyone has a connection like to the Faribault Hospital or a Faribault doctor, they for sure would be covered by services from our foundation.
So when you were being trained as a nurse, did you get trained here in Faribault, by the way?
I did. I was St. Lucas grad.
Well, cool.
Yeah. From 1958.
That's the year I was born.
Now, don't be making us feel old.
Well, I'm not trying to do that. But it is. That's the year I was born.
Yeah.
I've heard some great stories about St. Lucas.
Yeah.
And I don't remember when it closed.
I think it was in about 50, was it?
Yeah, well, no, because I graduated in 58, so it was after that.
Maybe 60?
59? I don't know, when was District 1 built?
In the early 60s.
Early 60s, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be darned. Not only are we taking a little trip down memory lane, but when you were being trained, I was about ready to ask you this. When you were being trained as a nurse, did you always want to go into hospice nursing?
Oh, no. I was going to go into OB, but soon after I graduated, I left Faribault and then came back. I was fortunate to come back. I'm so glad I did. I was in Chicago. Oof.
You were in Chicago, the windy city, the big city, Chicago, Illinois?
Yeah. So then I came back here. I had a job offer, and that was when we used to have the Faribault Area Vocational Technical School.
Oh, sure.
All that long name. And so I taught nursing there for many years.
And they were housed in Johnson Hall.
That's right.
Which we all need to support so we don't lose that historic building in our town.
Yeah, it's right on the healthcare campus there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And right on the list for
Yeah. We don't want to get into that subject. We'll come in and talk about that another day, Gordy.
Yeah. But you would like to see it saved, I hear. I
Oh,
understand.
definitely would like to see it saved. Think it's very important. If Faribault is a town of historic preservation, we need to save Johnson Hall. It's one of the early, it represents the Seabury campus, and really Faribault was founded because of our schools, and the first was our missionary school that became Seabury, and from that we got Shattuck and St. Mary's and St. James, and then
So Seabury was a Bishop Whipple thing, right?
yeah, they all were.
And Faribault used to be called the Athens of the West.
Yes.
Yes. Somehow we
I like
lost
that
that.
name. I like that name, don't you?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it wouldn't fit now, I don't think.
No, that's kind of off the topic.
But it does fit in the time frame when it was known as Athens of the West.
Right, and we had the schools, and that's why the school for the retarded and the deaf and the blind came to Faribault too, and it was the schools on the bluff and the east side, and it's still pretty true that the east side is schools and not retail, and the retail is to the west.
You know, they moved that river.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that.
Yes.
It used to be right in front of the Faribault house.
Yeah.
Where the street runs now used to be
Right.
the river.
The river,
They
right.
straightened it out more.
Yeah.
Yes.
They straightened out the straight river.
That's as crooked as it can be.
Yeah.
Get a little history here today too, folks, as we
Okay.
talk about Faribault Area Hospice Foundation. So, Audrey, how do I light up a life? I know my church has them, but
Okay.
there may be some people listening who, don't go to church.
Well, I'm going to give you an easy way. You can get the cards at almost all of our area banks. They're in the hospital lobby. But if you don't want to do that, you can just write on a piece of paper the names that you want to honor. Put your name and address so we can send you a thank you and that we know you donated it, and send it to the Faribault Area Foundation at 200 State Avenue, and we'll take care of it. So if you don't have the right form, you can just write it on a letter. And also there was an ad in the turkey wrap paper that we got on Thanksgiving that had a blank for filling out for Light Up Polite.
Can I do this online?
I don't know if you can do it online. You can get the information online. We have a website, and it's called the Faribault Area Hospice Foundation.org. And all the information would be on there.
Yeah, the Facebook page too, I know, because I looked at that before. In fact, I posted on your Facebook page and told everybody on your Facebook page that you were going to be here today.
Oh. And see, I'm so old I don't follow Facebook, so thank you very much for doing
Well, that has nothing to do with age. I know people older than you that follow Facebook.
I know. I need to get with it, Gordy.
Again, our guests today are RNs. They're involved with the Faribault Area Hospice Foundation, started to preserve this event pretty much, because I know when Alina first took over, and the word was that the Faribault Area Hospice would no longer be Faribault Area Hospice as we knew it, because Alina had their own hospice, right? When we first heard that, there was some concern about whether or not the Light Up a Life might be over. And
Right.
That's why you started the foundation.
Well, we started the foundation so there was funds to give extra services to the patients. And Light Up a Light is one of our fundraisers.
I was just going to say, but you have to have funds in order to give out funds.
We have to have funds in order to give out funds to people and assist people. And so we had the foundation so that we would be able to provide the extra services to the people in the Faribault area.
So again, you can get these at your church. I think virtually every church has them.
Yeah.
Church,
I know mine does.
at the bank, at the hospital, in the paper.
There's no limit to the number of,
You can
can
we'll let
purchase.
you have as many bulbs as you want to buy.
and you request a certain amount, right?
It's $5 a bulb.
And it's been that forever, I think.
It's been that forever. Some people give more just because they want to
Oh, sure.
donate more.
Of course.
But it's $5 a bulb.
And that event is so cool.
Yeah, and I think they have some up at the hospital also.
Yeah.
Okay. You mean right in the front lobby?
Yep, in the front lobby.
So check that out, folks, if you'd like to, and then make sure you attend the event. It is so awesome. Again, this year we'll be broadcasting it live for those who can't make it. I think it's a neat service that we're able to do that for, because there are a lot of people that would love to be there, but physically they can't. You know, they may be in a nursing home and they just can't. But
And
it's pretty cool that we can broadcast it.
And they get a chance to hear Beauchamp Choir they do a lovely job, and they'll be there again this year.
My favorite part, though, is when we all get to sing.
When we all Silent Night. We all end the ceremony singing Silent Night before we go in for refreshments.
It kind of hits me, you know.
I think it does everybody, because it occurs right after we lit that tree, the lights on the tree. So I think it's a very special moment, and we really enjoy singing it together.
The tree lighting will be December 4th. That's a Monday.
7 p.m.
It's always on a Monday.
Always.
It'll be at 7 in the evening, as Audrey just mentioned. 7 in the evening, tree lighting. Another reason why I think it's pretty cool is it's a brief ceremony.
Oh, yes. Especially if it's cold. If it's really cold, you can watch from inside the surgical lobby. But last year it was very windy, but it wasn't really cold.
Boy, it was windy.
But it was windy. But I'm hoping for good weather, and they say we're not supposed to get a cold wave before then, so that sounds wonderful.
Are we going to get snow?
Well, if they're right on KSTP, we're not. If we get a good weather report, we're not.
Because I kind of like having a little snow.
Well,
it makes it feel more Christmassy.
And you can park in the hospital parking lot, or you can park across the street. You know, it's so handy if you park in the hospital parking lot. You just walk through the hospital. There's volunteers that tell you, you know,
so the tree lighting is going to be at the same spot it was last year?
Yep.
Okay, because they've done so much remodeling up at the hospital.
Yeah,
you know.
but we'll have the same memory tree, and we'll still be doing it in that little circle there by the surgical entrance.
Sure. Well, it's perfect. That tree's right on the corner.
Okay.
As you turn off the street heading toward the hospital, there's the tree all lit up.
Right.
And you'll keep it lit how long?
Until the 1st of January. And people can donate anytime during December, but those who donate before the ceremony will be able to see the names in the memory book if they're there for the tree lighting ceremony.
So you've been involved ever since this started, Margeen?
That's right. I think it's a very important program, and since we're Medicare approved, Medicare pays part of the cost of the care. Not all of it.
Yeah, that's where you guys step in.
That's where we step in.
Yes, for the things that aren't covered.
Uh-huh.
Like, and for sure, in-residence care is never covered, and there's just things people need. You know, often the person might even be very young, and suddenly they have a terminal illness, and they've lost their job, and the loved ones want to be around, and they might need money just for basic things like groceries, or to keep the lights on.
See, Margeen, that would be the sad one for me. Would be young people, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never had to take care of a baby. That would be terrible.
That would be so hard.
It's hard. Yes.
Yeah.
Really, really hard. Well, we've only got a couple of minutes left in the show, so I'm going to summarize some of it to give out more information. You've got a handy-dandy card. Can you hold that up to our camera there, Audrey? That is the Light Up a Life card, right?
This is the Light Up a Light card, where you list the names, and then you list your name where you've given. So when we list it in the memory book, we'll put the name of the person that you remembered or that you want honored, and then your name will be after that name.
Yeah. People listening on the radio are going, what's he talking about, holding it up to a camera? We actually put this up on our YouTube channel so that you can watch this anytime. You can see lovely Margeen and lovely Audrey anytime.
Okay.
This is going up there forever.
And he didn't even warn us, so we didn't know that.
No.
Didn't I?
No.
I'm sorry.
Gosh,
It's all
we'd
right.
have gone to the beauty shop this morning.
I wonder if I got myself in trouble just now. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Audrey, but I wanted to note that because I'm sure that a lot of radio listeners going, what is he talking about, holding it up to
Right.
the camera?
So, and like I said, if you don't go to the church, or you don't want to go, you don't get out and you want to send the money in to remember somebody, you can just write it on a note that these are the names I want to remember, and this is my name and my address, so we can send them one of those ornaments the volunteers make, and their bulb will be lit.
Well, for me, and I've said it every year, I know I repeat myself, I'm a broken record, but this puts the whole holiday season in its proper perspective for me.
Well, kind of gets it going for me, because it's the first Monday in December, and then it's like you got to get busy baking and you got to get busy shopping because Christmas is on its way.
This takes all that out, the hustle and bustle part of it out,
Right.
Yeah.
and you just focus on family and relationships, and that's what the holidays should be about,
Correct.
in my opinion. Is that what it is for you too, Audrey?
I think it is that. It really brings in. I've lost a lot of close family, and it
Yeah.
really helps me. Okay, I've recognized them too, even though I can't spend the holiday with them anymore.
Oh, they're always in your heart.
They're always in your heart
But you,
and in
Margeen?
your mind.
Yeah.
Did-
Yeah, I'm at that age too where I'm losing a lot of friends and relatives and
Yeah.
And it does, I mean, it's kind of a reminder that their soul is still around.
Right.
yeah.
They may not physically be with us, but forever they'll be in our heart.
Forever in our hearts.
I like that. So again, folks, December the 4th, which
December
is the first
4th.
Monday in December. Hope to see you there. And if you can't be there, we'll be broadcasting live. It's one of my favorite events, and I always enjoy. I don't always get to broadcast it because sometimes I have a Carleton game that night, but I believe this year I'll be able to broadcast just as I did a year ago, and
good.
I always look forward to it. Thanks, Margeen. You have a happy holiday. Same to
will.
you,
Thank you.
Audrey.
Thank you. And
Happy
same
holidays.
to you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in the day after Thanksgiving. How dedicated are these ladies? They could be out on Black Friday shopping, but I know
Yes.
they're going to
Yeah.
be doing some
I
small
just-
Saturday shopping local, right? Shopping
Yes.
small Saturday tomorrow.
Yes.
Here locally. You're in tune to KDHLAM in Faribault, Minnesota.